it is just a fresh reminder for anybody who may need to know, okay, anybody who may need to know, because college freshmen this year, I think were born when Jordan was a Washington Wizard, okay, finishing up his amazing career.
I think you're right.
All right. So everybody just needs a refresher or a reminder as to who the true GOAT is and was. The Last Dance should remind everybody just how great, yes, we can compare eras, and sometimes it makes no sense to do it. There's only one Michael Jordan, and there's only one GOAT when it comes to the National Basketball Association, and it's on your screen right there. We're in number 45, which was in the, the Last Dance era, Jordan Bulls. And the thing that is totally crazy to me now still, as the thing that's blowing my mind also, this is a 23, 22-year-old story. That's how long it's been, a quarter century since all of this stuff was going down. And it just gave me a fresh reminder because I was sitting on the Sports Center set pretty much every night during the Last Dance Bulls. And it kind of reminded me of the feeling that I was having sitting on that set, everyone, all the other Sports Center anchors, and you could see it in even Mark Jones, who was, making his jump shot from his set in the afternoon show that they were putting on from the NBA. You can hear it in everybody's on-air reportage, the lead-ins, the comments. We were all, at the time, totally wondering what the Bulls' major malfunction was. That they were insistent on blowing this team up and not keeping it going for as long as it possibly could go. As long as Jordan wanted to play and be a Bull, Phil Jackson should be the coach. As long as Phil wanted to coach and Michael wanted him as his coach, for as long as that was happening, it needed to happen. And if Pippen wanted to get paid, pay him. Pay the man, as Dion screams on NFL Network all the time for good reason. Pay the man. And we were all wondering at the time, what is the malfunction of Jerry Krause? And we are seeing this now in the first two episodes. He is clearly the antagonist in this story. Although, as I said at the top of our show, and I'll repeat it here for the NBCSN audience, Jerry Reinsdorf's the boss of the Chicago Bulls. He owns the team. Why didn't he, and maybe this will be revealed over the next 8 episodes, why didn't he step in and say, no, Jerry Krause, this is not Phil's last year as coach, even though he was the one, I guess, who twisted Phil's arm to come back. But he's the owner. Sign Phil to more than a 1-year deal and tell Michael, we'll pay you $36 million. We'll pay Pippen all this money. And the fact that Pippen was so underpaid for as long as he was underpaid, and that wasn't rectified to the point where he was a simmering, stewing, angered employee, number 2, I guess, behind Jordan. It's because Reinsdorf refused to revisit it. At one point, didn't Reinsdorf sit down and say, I told him not to sign it? Huh?
Yeah, with 7 years, $18 million.
But 5 years in, after you've got all these trophies in the case, maybe you want to revisit it. You can break your rule once for Scottie Pippen to keep Jordan happy and Phil happy and keep the whole gang together. How did it not happen? It's in this. And it also just, again, I know the NBA is an everyday thing and you're on the road all the time and you're on top of each other all the time. But the fact that the Jordan Bulls could not stay together, wasn't allowed to stay together, whatever happened with the front office and Krause versus Jordan that went back to, as you saw last night, the minutes restriction that was placed on Jordan in his second year coming back from that broken foot. And he was so upset about all that. And if it wasn't for Paxson's shot at the end of regulation, at the end of the regular season, the Jordan 63-point game in Boston Garden wouldn't have happened, and the legend would have still been born eventually, but not in that manner. That he was taking that from year 2 and stewing all the way to the end about it. It ruined his relationship. Cross him once, I guess, you burn a bridge forever with Jordan. Put it all together, and it does make it even more remarkable, in my mind, that the supposed relationship that could not go on any longer between a GOAT and an all-time great coach that we've been talking about ad nauseum for the last year and a half, 2 years. You want to go back to the Garoppolo trade? Go back. Brady and Belichick lasted 20 years. 20 years. And Kraft stepped in, reportedly, when the Brady-Belichick relationship got to the point where one of them, reportedly, wanted to move on from the other. And Kraft, reportedly, stepped in and basically said, we're going to stick with our GOAT. Let's figure a way out to pay and get it going and keep it going. Why didn't Reinsdorf do that back in 1997, 98? And let Phil walk to Los Angeles and become another three-peat coach? Michael Jordan wore a Wizards uniform. I don't know if we'll say that with the same, I'll say that with the same disdain about Brady in a Buccaneer uniform. But it was 20 years. The whole thing, just watching it and reliving it. I couldn't believe it at the time, and I still, 22 years later, can't believe it. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.